Good afternoon, Amy. So it's a pleasure to have you with us today. I was wondering if you could please tell us about your research on women's experiences of prison in Southeast Asia and also your pathways to imprisonment work.
Good afternoon. Our work as the Thailand Institute of Justice mainly focus on the treatments of women's prisoner and offender in the Southeast Asia. So mainly we focus on the backgrounds and pathway of women who come into prison in this region. And we also focus on the gap in implementing the international standards and norms and all these UN guidelines that has been implemented in this region.
What would you say are the key findings of some of your research on women's experiences of prison in the ASEAN region, and what are the important issues that have come out of your work so far, do you think?
So first of all, women's prisoner in these regions increased in the recent years, and we found that that is the result of the drug policy that has been imposed in this region. But when you look at who the women are among these groups, you will find that the majority of them are first-time offenders who has been convicted with a really low-level drugs offense. Some were a drug user or a small-time drug dealer. So that gives us an idea of what are actually the roles of women in this drugs offense. So when TIJ did a pathway research with the Griffith University, we were able to look into further details about how women become a drug trafficker, because that has the high, harsh punishment, up to 25-year or life imprisonment. So we found that a lot of women were they did not have criminal lifestyle. They were living like a normal life, but because of poverty, lack of money, or some of them were treated by a man who then fall into these drugs offenses. So this one of the key things that we found that to be quite unique in this region. And so, once we know that most women are first-time offenders and the prison has been really overcrowding for several decades, what TIJ tried to promote is to have the prison in Thailand and Southeast Asia to implement these international standards and norms, just to ensure that the treatments of women in these regions are based on the protections of human rights and gender sensitivities. So one of the flagship project that we are doing in Thailand now is we call that the model prison on the implementations of the UN Bangkok rules. So mainly we try to encourage prison in Thailand to try to implement these standards in their own context, because every prison has the same limitations, that is the financial resources, overcrowdings, but a lack of staff. But some of the rules of these international rules can be implemented without spending any money. So what we try to motivate is, for prison staff to understand these backgrounds of women, how they get into prison, and then understand the specific needs of women. Most of them are mothers that have caring responsibilities. Some of them have the, mental health care needs. So try to encourage prison staff to understand this so that they can provide treatment according to the specific needs of women. So right now, this model prison has been implemented in several parts of Thailand. We have 6 model prisons in Thailand, where we hope to be a place where prison staff can learn, practices from each other, and also practitioners from other countries can learn from this effort that Thai prison try to achieve.
Okay, thank you. I was wondering if you might be able to tell us a little bit about where you think your research is going to go in the future. So what research projects are you currently working on, whether you have any research collaborations moving forward, and what research you're planning to do next?
In the future, what we try to do is just to understand, the diversity of the women prisoner, because within the big female population, you have smaller groups such as foreign nationals, elderly prisoner. You have all different kinds of prisoner, and they all have different kinds of needs. In order to achieve the appropriate treatment, we need to understand what their needs are in this region. So that is our directions of our future research. And also, the main objective is just for the criminal justice is to reduce prison populations. And to do that, you cannot work only with the prison system. You need to work more broadly. So what we try to do is just to look into the alternative to imprisonment and what can be done to reduce the number of prisoners in Thailand and in Southeast Asia.
Thank you very much for joining us today, Amy, and telling us about your work.